In 1954, 22 11-year-old boys went to summer camp. They were chosen because they were as ordinary as children can be. Healthy, average, from stable homes, screened for months. Not one of them had a history of trouble. Within 5 days, they had built 2 tribes. Within 11, they were burning each other's flags, raiding each other's cabins at night, and filling socks with rocks. Nobody told them to hate each other. They were never even told the other group existed until the scientists were ready. You think it takes years to make people hate? It took a bus ride. The man behind it was Sherif, a social psychologist who had watched a country tear itself apart and wanted to know how quickly it could happen to anyone. Not to bad people, to boys at a summer camp in Oklahoma. So he built the cleanest experiment on group conflict ever run. And the boys never knew they were in it. Every counselor, every cook, every handyman was a researcher taking notes. Here is how you make a tribe. Week 1. 2 buses arrive at different times. Neither group knows the other is there. Each group hikes, swims, cooks together, and does what humans always do when they share a hard week. They become a we. They invent nicknames, they pick leaders, they make rules, and without being asked, each group gave itself a name. One called themselves the Rattlers, the other, the Eagles. They painted the names on their shirts, they made flags. 2 tribes, out of nothing, in 6 days. Week 2. Sherif lets them discover each other. The reaction was instant. Before a single word was exchanged, both groups wanted the other gone. The Rattlers wanted to challenge them. The Eagles wanted the field to themselves. Nobody had done anything yet, so Sherif gave them exactly what he'd planned. A tournament, baseball, tug of war, tent pitching, points for the winners. And the prizes were displayed where everyone could see them, medals and pocket knives. One winning group takes everything. The losers get nothing. Here is the important part. The competition wasn't cruel. It was a normal summer camp tournament. It just had one rule underneath it. For you to win, they have to lose. That rule was enough. Day 1 of the tournament, name calling. Day 2, the Eagles found the Rattlers' flag and burned it. The Rattlers found out and raided their cabin that night, tearing it apart. The Eagles raided back at dawn armed with rocks. Cabins were stripped. Faces were painted for war. Bags were packed with stones in case of ambush. Within a week, these were children collecting weapons. And then the beliefs arrived. The Rattlers described the Eagles as sneaks, cheats, cowards. The Eagles said the Rattlers were the same. When the boys were asked to rate each other, they rated their own group as brave and friendly, and the other group as almost subhuman. Each side genuinely believed the other had started it. Sherif had built a war with a whistle and a box of pocket knives. And remember who these boys were. Screened for months. No troubled kids. No history of violence. The most normal children the researchers could find in the state. So he tried to undo it. And this is where most people misremember what he found. His first idea was the obvious one. If they just spend time together, they'll see each other as people. So he had them eat together, watch films together, sit side by side. It made it worse. Every shared meal turned into a food fight. Contact alone gave them a better place to aim. Just putting enemies in the same room does not create peace. It creates a bigger room to fight in. What finally worked was something else entirely. Sherif broke the camp's water supply. He didn't announce a truce. He didn't lecture them about kindness. He simply created a problem that neither group could solve alone. 22 boys had to find the blockage, and they did together. Rattlers and Eagles, crawling over the same rocks, because thirst doesn't care what's painted on your shirt. Then a truck carrying their food broke down, and the only way to move it was to pull. With the same rope they had used for tug of war. The rope that had made them enemies now had both tribes on the same end of it. Sherif called these superordinate goals. Problems bigger than either group, that neither group can solve without the other. One shared goal barely dented it. But he kept going, one after another. And slowly, the thing that had taken a week to build began to come apart. By the end, The boys were sitting together by choice. They pooled their own money to pay for a shared meal. And when it was time to go home, they asked to ride on the same bus. The Rattlers spent their prize money on drinks for everyone. Now the honest part, and it's the best part. Sherif ran this study 3 times. You've only ever heard about the one that worked. The year before, in a place called Middle Grove, he tried the exact same thing. But that time, the boys had spent a few days together as one big group before being split up. And when the researchers tried to turn them against each other, the boys refused. They saw through it. They complained about the unfair competitions. They made up their own rules to keep things even. And when the staff sabotaged their belongings to provoke a fight, the boys didn't blame the other group at all. They blamed the adults. Sherif was reportedly furious. That study was never published. He moved to a new camp, made sure the boys were strangers from the very first minute, and only then did it work, which means the famous lesson is not quite the lesson. Tribalism isn't automatic. It had to be engineered, and it only took when the boys were kept apart first. Given the chance to be one group before being split, they defended each other instead. You have felt the edge of this. The other department that's somehow always the problem, the rival club, the people on the other side of a comment section who you're sure are worse than you. You didn't reason your way there. Someone drew a line, put a prize on the other side of it, and your brain did the rest in about a week. Muzaffar Sherif didn't prove that we're born to hate. He proved something more useful. Hatred needs 3 things: a line, a scarcity, and no reason to need each other. Take away the third, and the whole thing collapses. We don't stop hating people because someone told us to be nice. We stop when we need them. So the next time a group feels like the enemy, don't ask who started it. Ask a better question. What is the problem that neither of us can fix alone? Because the rope doesn't change. Only which end you're standing on. Would you have burned the flag and be honest? Tell me in the comments. And if you want to understand the experiments that reveal who we really are, this is the human experiment. I'll see you in the next case.